Okay, so the last time I interviewed you was for Inside Edge, and as far as I remember that entire scenario of the interview, you had your hand fractured. So I'm going to start from
Oh
there.
yes. Yeah. That was pretty bad actually. Yeah.
So how's your hand doing? I'm going to start from there.
So my hand is fine now, but my finger, as you can see, is crooked. Actually, both my small fingers are crooked for life. Actually, nothing I can do about it unless I go for invasive surgery. But having said that, yeah, I mean, it was a very traumatic period for me because what happened is I was playing cricket and I kind of went to catch the ball and I flicked the little finger. So I got four fractures, and not hairline fractures, but like the proper deep fractures on my little finger. And I was just getting started on this new project, which had a lot of action and chase scenes and stuff like that. And it was extremely painful and very very difficult for me. But yeah, that's what I'm fine now. I don't feel any pain anymore.
But does that hurt now? No, it doesn't hurt now anymore.
No, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Okay.
But it did hurt me for quite some time.
Right. So now coming to this question, which for the reason that I thought that we all can get a chance to come and speak to you is season 2 of Codem. I believe January mein aaya tha season 1, right? If I'm not wrong.
15th of Jan, yeah.
Yeah, and now you're up with season 2. Tell us, what is it carrying with it? What are we going to see?
So see, unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to speak openly about it because honestly, we have not started shooting for it. I kind of know what the story is and in what direction the team is heading in, and it's extremely exciting because I feel one of the really cool things about being part of the OTT space and web series is that every season that you come back for, you get a chance to go on a new journey with the same characters. So you see how those characters evolve, grow, sometimes not in the best ways. And I feel the scope of the show in season 2 has opened up and has widened, has actually broadened quite a bit. So I'm excited to see that, and it's also a lot more emotional. The stakes are a lot more personal in the upcoming season. So unfortunately, that's all I can divulge right now, but I know you understand.
And knowing the fact about this terrible year that I'm going to talk about, and it's almost 5 months plus that, we are still a little finicky about moving out and meeting.
Yes.
Did you manage to fetch on any sort of project? Because I know that people are working from home and having their meetings. What are you catching up on?
So, I mean, of course, work has slowed down tremendously. I mean, I would say there is no work really happening for me currently. It's starting to pick up now. So I think within the next 5-6 days onwards, I think we should start getting back on track when it comes to shooting. I signed a couple of projects during lockdown, which I'm very excited about. There's Seven Sense with Madhavan and Amisha Patel and Rati, Babbar, Ellie. A lot of people on that show. So that's something I'm looking forward to working on. We're going to be going to Dubai soon, shooting for that. And then there's Cartel. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. Then there's Cartel, which is an old Balaji show that I've been shooting for since last October. So that's the project which has all the action in it when I got injured. So we still have a fair amount of work left on that. So that's one. And then I have to go back to the Emirates and shoot another show. It's a political thriller called Line of Fire. It's got Jimmy Shergill, lots of Tanisha Chatterjee, lots of other people on it. So that's what's happening. And then, of course, we've got Codem 2, got a little bit of patchwork on Inside Edge 3. I might have a day's shoot left for this one Amazon show called Kamati Buddha, where I'm playing a negative character. And I've got a little cameo on this Netflix show called Masaba. I think it's out now end of August. It's got Neena Gupta and her daughter Masaba in it. So I got a cameo on that. Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting times, interesting stuff going on. So yeah.
With what I study in your answers, that you are surrounded with great set of performers and really great people, and I mean that's really really nice. And of course,
yes, and I consider myself very very blessed because what happens is when you're acting with artists who you really regard and who are so experienced and who have been around for ages and who really know their craft inside out, you have no option. It's sink or swim, right? You have to raise your game. So in turn, it ends up bringing out the best in me as well, and that's something that has happened on Inside Edge as well, even on Conan for that matter, because um, you look at Conan, you've got Jennifer, you've got Rajat Kapoor, you've got Seema Biswas, you've got some really, really solid talent over there. Even with Inside Edge, every day that I would go on set, there would be either Richa or Vivek or Shayoni or Angad or Sapna. Like it's got a very eclectic star cast, So I think that's the really cool thing about these ensembles in the web space, as opposed to a film. I mean, films are amazing, no doubt, but the scope of a film is a little different because it has more tunnel vision. It's focusing on maybe two, three, four people. On the web, you've got a whole lot more people. So it's really interesting because everyone's got their own process, everyone's got their own style. So I feel acting is also about reacting somewhere. So it keeps me really on my toes, and I like that. So
Also talking about acting, I'll tell you, I find it really difficult to understand this, but I'm going to ask you this. Everybody, all of us, including anyone, we all go through disappointments, pain, depression. There's some sort of anxiety. We all have that, difficult
yeah,
route. But as an
sure.
actor, we, like, as normal regular people like me can literally sit and cry whenever we want to, but as an actor, a person has to snap out, immediately when you're on your
Yeah,
role. How do you manage to do that, and
yeah.
what kind of practices does it take? It could probably help us.
It's a very, very good question, and I think it's very relevant with everything that is happening in the world today. Um, Anxiety, depression, feeling a certain way, all these things happen whether you're an actor, whether you're in any line of work, and sometimes you have absolutely zero control over it. It's happened to me as well. I've never faced severe depression, but of course, there are times where you worry, and there are times where you you have to be your own best friend. You have to find a way out of there, and you can't run away from it. You have to embrace it. Like if I'm low or if I'm not in a good space, I accept it to myself that this is where I am. But that does not mean I'm only going to be here. The only way up for me from here is up. I have a rock bottom. So you have to. I try not as much as I have some really good friends and of course my family around me. I try to not be too dependent on them because I feel we all have it within us to get out of the worst situations. So in a way, acting I find it quite therapeutic. I'll tell you why. Because we are constantly see, I'm not a trained actor, right? So I like if you tell me to perform a scene, it's not like I have a particular technique. I kind of over the years have formed my own way of doing things, but I don't I don't come from any particular school of thought when it comes to acting. So I have to utilize real life emotions. I have to utilize real life experiences, things that I have witnessed in my own personal life. I try and bring that on screen, and maybe it's not always healthy because our mind doesn't have a on and off button. But I find it very therapeutic for the simple reason that you get to really express so much that is inside of you, and also because over the last couple of years I've done a bunch of roles. Like I did Inside Edge 1, where his journey was a certain way, very, very mercurial character. Then I did a Poison again, Revenge Saga. It was quite a heavy character. Then Inside Edge 2. So Codem in a way was like my holiday project. Like it was very chill pill like that. Again, now I've gotten into Cartel, which is the old show. That's really heavy duty. So what happens is I feel almost like I'm going to a shrink and speaking to them, because when I'm on set, I'm getting paid to let out what is partially real emotions, but just kind of disguised as the character's emotions. So you kind of have to find that right place. Another thing that really helps me personally is music. Not music with words, but just instrumental music. It could be a classical piece, it could be a movie soundtrack. It really gets me into a zone. If I have to be in a happy zone, I'll listen to that kind of music. If I have to be in an intense or certain zone, I think it really helps. So I just use a bunch of these factors, and at the end of the day, um, whether I've had a fight at home or I've broken up with my girlfriend or I've got some other personal problem going on, I cannot afford to bring it to work because see today I got done shooting for Inside Edge last September. Okay, I had a bunch of stuff going on in my life that time. I had to remind myself every day that hey, this show is going to be out 1.5 years from the time you get done shooting, because it takes that long with those big shows. You don't want to kick yourself and be like, oh my God, you could have done a better job, but you didn't because you were not in the best space mentally. So you have to be very clear cut and harsh with yourself when it comes to that. Logical when it comes to that, because once एक बार छप गया तो छप गया, right? I mean, then you guys, you the audience, journalists, everyone else on social media, you all are judge, jury, and in some cases executioner. So you all and we put ourselves out for you all. So it's tricky, but you have to constantly kind of beat it.
I get that. I was also going through a couple of articles, and I stopped at one. This article was with News 18 that you had a conversation recently, I believe, and where you mentioned that there was a time that people called you box office poison, and until they watched Inside Edge, and that's when they started appreciating you. So when I read that statement, it kind of pinched me that how these fluctuating mindsets that people have, it could actually affect somebody. So when you heard something like that at that point of time, how did you feel, and how did you not let that affect you at all? And you're here now with that.
I felt like shit. I felt really horrible. Also, I was younger. I was more innocent. I had not really seen the world. I've led quite a privileged life in that regard. So it was quite a rude awakening for me. But look, here it's quite simple, right? When you're related to someone who has really done well in the industry, like in my case, my mother, expectations are bound to happen. I mean, that's just the way it is, and we do get certain benefits when we start off. But I feel when things don't quite work out the way you intend for them to, the slide is really pretty brutal as well, because the same people who kind of did wah are the same people who tell you you're not good enough and you don't have what it takes and your box office poison and stuff like that. So you have to be mentally very strong to be able to cope and deal with all this, and sometimes you have to be thick-skinned and live in your own bubble. If you back yourself and if you back your talent, and I feel it's not just talent, it's about being at the right place at the right time. It's definitely hard work, and of course you have to have your skill set in place. Then sooner or later you will get the right opportunities. Like for me, I never thought of giving up. I mean, sure, there are fleeting moments where you think, oh God, is everyone right? Am I really not good enough? And then you're like, no, you need to snap out of it, because if I pull the plug and I give up myself, it's done. I'm done. I will have lost right there. So for me, I just said, just weather the storm. It's change is the only constant. This is not going to be a permanent scenario. Something will come along, and you don't know in what shape or what form. I mean, I set out to be a film actor. Today, I'm not a film actor right now, but I'm doing a lot of stuff on the web. Back then, web was not even an option. There was nothing called the OTT. So all I'm saying is, you never know when the right opportunity knocks at your door. You just have to be ready, and you just have to know that just because people have an opinion, and sometimes the opinion is genuine and heartfelt, and sometimes it's quite vindictive and mean and nasty. That opinion does not make it a fact. That opinion does not make it a reality. I don't think I improved so much as a performer between, say, One Night Stand and Inside Edge. Maybe I got better. Maybe the script was better. Maybe my director was better in handling me. But I'm not saying Zameen Asman ka farak hai, but the perception changes. So that's how it is. So you just have to kind of struggle is real, and struggle is, I'm sure, they're on every level. I mean, today someone as big as a Shah Rukh Khan also has to think 5 times before signing his next project. The reason we don't really hear any announcements, because he knows he had like a few lean years in the middle, and now he wants to come back with a bang. So at his level, imagine what he must be thinking. हम तो अभी छोटे अभी नए आए हैं. So struggle तो सबके लिए होता है, and you have to and most important now, you have to enjoy what you do. You have to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to work like you're under duress, or like someone's got a gun to your head now, you can't lie in front of the camera. You just cannot. वो आपके बारीकियां, आपकी जितनी subtleties है आपके चेहरे पे ना, वो पकड़ लेती है. So it's very important that you are in a good and neutral state of mind. I'm not saying you have to be in a state of euphoria, and neither do you have to be really sad or something, but just be neutral so that when you are embodying the character, you can carry the emotions of what that character is feeling and not your own stuff.
Right, right, right. I get your point.
Yeah.
Also talking about life and dreams and plans and future. Are you somebody who goes with the flow and somebody, who goes one day at a time, or do you have a
Yeah.
set of pattern that you have thought of कि ऐसा होगा?
Well, to be honest, I did have a plan before this year started, but now I've abandoned any thoughts of thinking too far ahead because right now we just want to get out, get done with 2020 and get done with this pandemic in one piece, and with our mental well-being intact, with our sanity intact. Um, but no, I think it's important to visualize as to how you see your life, not just your career. It could be your personal life. It could be anything, just the entire summation of your life. I think it's important to visualize, but at the same point, don't build unrealistic expectations which are bound to not be met, and then because that didn't happen, you will be upset. You know, you aim for the stars, aim for the best. You got to back yourself, as I said earlier. But like, say for example, I'm doing an Inside Edge, and of course I hope I get to do it for many years to come because I genuinely love playing that character and I love working with Amazon and Excel. But for whatever reason, if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to go into depression because of it, because I'll be grateful that okay, God gave me 3 seasons now. These guys gave me 3 seasons. I had the opportunity to play this character 3 times. That's a lot. That's not bad at all. So, ठीक है. So you have to be very thankful and grateful for what you have instead of focusing on what you don't have. There's always going to be someone or lots of people who have a lot more than we have. But then there are even more people who don't even have what we have.
Also, talking about this really भारी word, okay, जो हर कोई पूछता है, हर कोई बात कर रहा है, पता नहीं कितने सालों से बात कर रहा है, but it is a very normal thing, which is nepotism, जो सभी पूछते हैं आजकल. I believe it is fine कि हर किसी को मदद मिलती है, हर किसी को नहीं मिलती है. Everyone has a different journey, and everyone wants to help the people that they know. But I also heard some stories where people say that you have already signed a particular project, but just because someone turned out to be their friend, they probably replaced the actor. So that
I've heard those as
I
well.
did not really appreciate. What is your opinion when you hear of that?
Okay, so number one, nepotism exists in our industry and in our country, and most probably in our world. Okay, tomorrow, if you are the son or daughter of a big businessman, he is going to give you the best opportunity to go out there and continue his good work. If you are a doctor's son, you will get the same privilege. A lawyer's son, investment banker, whatever. So, of course, as an actor's son, or as a director, or a producer's son, or niece, nephew of anyone blood related, they will do their best, and every parent would want the best for their child. There's no harm in that. But do not be building your castle on someone else's grave. That is my point. Do not snatch work from people who are worthy of that work, of that role, just to push your own kin forward. That's where the problem lies. What you rightly said, it's not happened with me in the sense as in touch wood, I've never been in a situation where I've been signed for something and then someone else has gotten it for a wrong reason. There have been times where I've been shortlisted for films, for web series, for advertisements, and they've not worked out. But I will be like, that person was better, maybe that person was more deserving. Okay. But there's been no games that have been played with me, which is a really horrible thing. So I just feel with everything that is going on, the debate has been reignited in the past couple of months, and I just feel more than nepotism now, I think there are a bunch of cliques and camps in this industry who are constantly backing each other, and very, very rarely do they let any outsider in. And by outsider, I don't mean just necessarily someone who's not from Bombay or someone who does not have a famous parent. I personally consider myself to be an outsider to a large extent because my mom has never picked up the phone and made a call and said, please meet my son, please sign him for this. She's never done that. And I know lots of people from her generation who have done that for their kids. And great, good for them. My mom has never done that. When she sees me on screen or she sees a show like Kodam or Inside Edge or anything, she's very proud because she knows that I first tasted failure. First 3 years were a nightmare, 3 films, 3 flops, nothing was working out. And then eventually when success did start happening, it also happened organically, it happened naturally, and it happened on my terms. and that is a rewarding feeling, because at the end of the day I can be the biggest celebrity in the world, but if I have used the wrong method to get there, or if I have kind of cut off opportunities from other deserving or probably more deserving people, I will not, if I have any conscience, I will not be able to live with myself. And for me, it's important that I live with my actions, with my family's actions, and I love my sleep too much. I want to sleep peacefully at night. So that's the whole thing. So nepotism definitely does exist, which I'm still like, okay, fine, theek hai, it's let's just call it a necessary evil of society. But this favoritism and these games and these scams, I think that is what needs to be reviewed and changed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, very well said and very openly said. I'm so glad that you did not sugarcoat your words and you being really blunt, and that's really really.
Yeah. And honestly, it gets a little difficult for me to be part of this debate, because anyone can turn around and be like, oh, but you're a star kid. But please, let's just for a second pause and think what exactly a star kid is. Yes, my mother has been a famous actor. She's no longer acting in the industry, number one. She's not been active for a while. Have you ever seen? I mean, barring maybe two or three instances here and there, we don't even go for things together. Like how it is. Like,
Yeah.
because she wants me to be my own person. Because she started with nothing. When she was 15 or 16 years old, the producer of her very first movie spotted her in a sorry he spotted her. Sorry, he spotted her in a school performance, in a play, and that's how she got noticed and recognized. Even she didn't know that she wanted to become an actor at that point. So you have to follow your own trajectory in life, and that's what she wants me to do. So yeah.
Second last question that I had for you was, since you were answering everything, I know that the topic is really, really sensitive, okay? And I don't want to have a very awkward, straightforward question. I just want to know, what do you feel like saying when it comes to Sushant Singh Rajput? Whatever you want to speak about him, or whatever you want to speak.
So, see, it's extremely sad what has happened, number one. And when I heard about it on the 14th of June, I was shocked, because even though I did not know him personally, but having watched his films, seeing him at events, and just seeing his general energy, like he seemed to have this amazing zest to live, to learn, to get better every single day. And I know a lot of people from the industry who have been very, very close to him, and everyone had really nice things to say about him. So I was really taken aback. And as things have been unfolding, it's become really, really nasty and ugly. And I think at this point, it's fair to say that there is a whole lot more to this than meets the eye. So I mean, I don't want to comment on that, because I think the matter is sub judice, and I think the law should take its natural course. But if there is any foul play involved, then I think that's an even greater tragedy than him apparently committing suicide, because not to advocate suicide or anything like that, but at least that is a decision where the individual has taken it. But if his life has been snatched away from him just in his very prime, just as he was, he was doing really well, and I'm sure he would have only gone from strength to strength. And it's extremely unfortunate. And what is also sad to see how our culture and how our society has become, where everything has to be politicized, and I just feel that is extremely insensitive when you want to drag in his family, when you want to make things personal to further your own agenda, and I just feel it's become an absolute tamasha. And it's sorry to say, but I feel a lot of people have started just viewing this as reality television, man, and it's kind of sickening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like to say on that. Yeah.
Social media has gotten very toxic.
Social media these days, like, no one is even interested in checking the facts. I mean, they've all become so trigger happy as a culture that we are ready to attack. We are always on the offensive, We don't want to validate statements. And unfortunately, as the old saying goes, the pen is mightier than the sword, And certain things once written, certain things once said cannot be unsaid, The people in question have to live with that ignominy for the rest of their lives, and I don't think that's fair. There was a time when journalism, when social media, when all of this was rooted in facts, where people actually investigated, saw, okay, fine, is it actually feasible? Did this actually happen? Nowadays, so people just present their own opinions or their vested interests as facts, and I think it's really appalling.
I understand. Also, lastly, when do we get to interview you again, and how did you find this conversation?
Okay, so look, I as much as the Zoom calls and all these virtual chats that we have are wonderful, but nothing quite comes nothing comes close to the personal one-on-one experience. It's really awesome. Just the old school way of just sitting down and having a conversation with someone. I really hope that happens sooner or later. I really, really, really do hope that happens sooner or later. And it's always a joy speaking with you, and you guys on your channel and on your website do some really cool stuff. So just keep up the good work, and I'm happy to share my thoughts on not just my career, but on a variety of topics and subjects whenever you ask me to.
Right. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
I'm sorry again.
No, it's fine. Please take care. Take good care of yourself, and
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Yeah, see you. Bye.